Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome into Duval Daily presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for being here Wednesday, September 3rd. Happy birthday, Dad. Really appreciate y'all tuning in here, supporting this channel. Yesterday, we did our Jaguars preview of their offense for the 2025 season. Today is going to be that defensive preview. And tomorrow, we're getting into the nitty-gritty of Jaguars versus Panthers, the week one matchup. Cannot wait to start getting into matchups and keys to victory and bold predictions for these individual games. Been waiting on it for a very, very long time. I'm excited about it. But again, right now we are previewing the Jaguars defense and special teams. Look, the bottom line from a special teams perspective is you've got Heath Farwell retained as your special teams coordinator. He's one of the best in the business. You've got Cam Little as your kicker, one of the best in the business. You've got Logan Cook as your punter, one of the best in the business. You've got Ross Matisic as your long snapper, one of the best in the business. And you have got a ton of players that excel on special teams. Enough said. The Jaguars will have a very good special teams unit if these people continue to perform the way that they have over the last handful of years. Okay? Now, looking at the Jaguars defense is what we're going to do because special teams just does not need to be talked about a lot. Not because it's not important, but because the Jaguars have really good special teams. The one area you could say, well, what's the question mark? Maybe the kick returner. We don't know exactly how that's going to play out, but I think that there's a number of options to feel good about. So defense is the name of the game today. Really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. You can also check out genjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear. We will have a couple very cool 904 day, which is tomorrow, Thursday, September 4th. Very cool items available for 904 day tomorrow on the website. So we'll remind you about that tomorrow. But Anthony Campony, Jaguars defensive coordinator, what does he have? And one thing I hate, really, it sucks because you've had a new defensive coordinator 2 years in a row here, and there was a lot of enthusiasm when Ryan Nielsen was hired last year in Jacksonville. It felt like everywhere you turned, no matter who you talked to, there was excitement about his ability as a defensive coordinator. It wasn't even just potential as a defensive coordinator. He was a co-defensive coordinator in New Orleans, and he was a full-time defensive coordinator in Atlanta the year before, a year in which they improved in a lot of important metrics. He was hardworking, all these things, but it did not come together. And there's a lot of excitement about Anthony Campanile right now, but I think some of that excitement is getting dampered because of the memory of what happened last year. Also because he actually doesn't have the experience of being a defensive coordinator at this level. He did call plays at Boston College, but he doesn't have the experience of being a defensive coordinator at this level. So what's he got? He's got pedigree. I mean, he's been around a ton of great defensive minds. He's coached under a ton of great defensive minds. He was on a really good defensive staff last year under Jeff Hafley. He was the linebackers coach and defensive run game coordinator in Green Bay for a defense that really did improve a lot and did a lot of good, cool things. He's worked under Vic Fangio, Brian Flores. I mean, the list goes on, but those are the three most recent influences: Flores, Fangio, Hafley. And you look at the Minnesota Vikings and Flores, and they're one of the most respected defensive staffs in the NFL. You look at Fangio in Philly, same thing. You look at Hafley in Green Bay, same thing. So he's been in the right spots lately. There's no doubt about that. He's got a lot of personality. And I don't think it's like the showy, look at me type of guy. I think he's genuine, very genuine, very high energy, same guy every day, excitable, motivator, talks about and brings toughness. Like it's all about toughness for him, toughness and communication. If you can play the game tough and communicate He believes you can get the job done. Can he dial things up in a way that works for his guys, in a way that opposing offenses can't pick up on? Can he keep opposing offenses on their heels a little bit? Can he dictate a little bit, right? He's got some pieces, right? Super talented pieces at certain spots, some young pieces, some veteran guys coming in. There's some question marks at different spots on the roster on defense. There's good leadership, I think, at all three levels. I think the idea for this defense is that there will be a mixed defensive front, a nickel on the field more often than not. That's why Jordan Lewis is here. A cover two shell more often than not. Eyes on the ball, eyes forward, zone defense. I think that's the basic idea. You give them a lot of different looks up front. You have a nickel on the field a lot, cover two shell a lot, eyes on the ball, and then you really mix things up a lot and give offenses unscouted looks in key moments. And he'll light you up. You saw it during the preseason a little bit. Some of these safety blitzes or even sim pressures with safeties. And a sim pressure, you're still just sending 4 players, but you don't know where those 4 players are coming from. And that can mess up your offensive line protection rules, assignments, create confusion, create chaos, and create an advantage, create a defense that can dictate a little bit more to the offense. Usually you think about offense and defense, and the offense is dictating to the defense. If the defense can flip the script a little bit while remaining sound on the back end, that can really disrupt offenses and give you an advantage. They'll shift some coverages post-snap. I think that they will have their bread and butter stuff, but then, again, on some of these money downs, you're not going to know what's coming. Most of the time, base, they're going to try to get there with 4 or 5. They're going to try to keep everything in front of them on the back end, take their shots at forcing turnovers when they present themselves. What do I mean by that? With this defensive backfield, Tyson Campbell, Travis Hunter, Jordan Lewis, Eric Murray, Andrew Wingard, these guys really do excel at having eyes on the quarterback in zone coverage, and they all have the ability to jump routes. So you're taking your shot every once in a while, and sometimes when you do that, you're going to give up a big play. Sometimes when you do that, you're going to make a big play. So that's where I think the variance can come in with this defensive backfield, and also just if you have teams that can push the ball deep down the field quickly, I think that can present some issues for the Jaguars safety group in coverage. But their idea is, again, put a roof over the offense, have a lot of numbers back there, and force you to throw the ball. And then we can jump some routes, because Travis Hunter is elite at jumping routes. Jordan Lewis is elite at jumping routes. Tyson Campbell is very good at jumping routes, again, when he has eyes in the backfield. I think Wingard and Murray are good in that regard too. So that's kind of the name of the game with the back end, I think. And then also combining that with the defensive front that features Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker. I believe in those two as much as I believe in anything on this team. Point blank. How good can the interior be on the defensive front? I think you have this incredibly high ceiling, this potential for something that could be special with Eric Armstead and Mason Smith. You haven't seen it much because they were both dealing with injury early on in training camp. Eric Armstead came over last year, and the Jaguars idiotically pushed him outside to play edge, to be their edge 3. One of the strangest, most bizarre, dumb decisions of a long line of dumb decisions in Jaguars history. And when he actually did play inside, he was actually pretty effective. But the Jaguars are playing him where he should be played now. Inside the tackles, get after the quarterback, get Eric Armstead, get Josh Hines Allen, Trayvon Walker, all on the field at the same time. Mason Smith is another one where it's like, man, if he can hit, because you do have Devon Hamilton, you do have Austin Johnson, you do have Colin Saunders. You got these guys that can execute their job, but they don't have that ability to change the game from an athletic perspective the way Eric Armstead or Mason Smith does, right? So you do have like the floor guys, the glue guys, which I really like the depth there overall. But you do not, with those players, you don't have that same athletic upside. Murray's getting fired up a little bit over here. She hears a truck outside. So you don't have the same athletic upside or physical upside with Colin Saunders, with Austin Johnson, Murray, hush, with Devon Hamilton, as you do with Eric Armstead and Mason Smith. So you're hoping those guys can really hit for you. Mason Smith, to me, is more of a question mark than Eric Armstead from a can he get the job done perspective, but it also feels like Eric Armstead has just been dealing with injuries a lot throughout his career, missed some time lately. Is he going to be able to sustain? So those are the question marks on the interior. But if Eric and Mason can really get after it, that's going to be something special with Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. And then you also combine the fact that they will use stunts, they will use games up front. They also have Emmanuel Ogbah who can kick inside, Trayvon Walker who can kick inside, and this is in pass rush downs, and DeJuan Smoot who can kick inside. You also have as a pass rusher Dennis Gardeck, who underrated piece, but like if you go back and watch him at Arizona, he's this kind of hybrid player. He's a great special teams player, talking about the special teams guys, but great special teams player, but great just banshee off the edge. I think they nicknamed him the Barbarian, but like he is a really dangerous pass rusher that you can deploy as well. So that's exciting. On the second level, I strongly believe in Foye. He's a captain for a reason. He's been a captain since he's been here. He's an awesome player. He's a great leader. He's got all the ability in the world. Devin Lloyd and Ventrell Miller, they can play the run. They can run and hit. They can fill. Can whoever is on the field with Foye Oluokun at linebacker not be a liability in coverage? With Ventrell, it's more about his lack of true high-level athleticism in coverage. With Devin Lloyd, it's more about just mental mistakes, not really understanding his assignment all the time or not executing his assignment all the time in coverage. Both of those guys have the potential to be really good number 2 linebackers next to Foye. Can they not be a liability in coverage? If not, how long is it till we see Jack Kaiser on the field? I don't know. So the good thing is at linebacker, if Devin Lloyd struggles in coverage, okay, we can turn to Ventrell and hopefully he can get it done. If Ventrell struggles, let's see the rookie at some point. You don't want to thrust him into the action immediately, but at some point I think that could be the case because Jack Kaiser plays smart. He is where he's supposed to be. Not the biggest, not the strongest, not the fastest, but he's a good football player. We talked about corner, talked about safety. I think especially in the back end at safety, the communication is going to be so critical because Eric Murray and Andrew Wingard aren't the two most physically gifted safeties in the world. They're not the biggest. They're not the fastest. But communication, instincts, that's going to be their trump card if they have a trump card. Overall, I think that this defense has the potential, the ability to be a top 12 to 14 defense, but I also think they could be bottom 8. I see a lot of variance potential in this defense. Again, how well does it come together for Anthony Campony as a continued motivator, strategist, week-to-week game planner, moment-to-moment play caller, all these things? We don't know yet. How does it go for Eric Armstead and Mason Smith? How does it go for linebacker 2? How does it go for the safeties? Can Tyson Campbell stay healthy? These are all the questions that this defense has to answer. I do believe in Anthony Campony. But from an objective standpoint, we just have not seen it at this level ever yet. He hasn't had the opportunity yet. He's got it now. What's he going to make of this opportunity, and how are his players going to execute what he's asking of them? That's what we are going to find out starting this Sunday. against the Carolina Panthers. And there will be tests. Bryce Young is a talented young quarterback, T-Mac, talented, good run game. We'll see pretty quickly how well these guys are prepared. Now, that's not the biggest test they'll have, but it is the first test, and I think it's a good test to start out with because there's some things to worry about, but it's not like the most pressure-packed offense that you're ever going to face. So Anthony Campony, what's he got in store for this Jacksonville Jaguars defense? Sunday, 1 p.m. at the bank, Everbank Stadium, Jaguars versus Panthers. Going to start to find out. Really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.